it's more so about like the ambiance and the experience. Doesn't necessarily mean a walk in the park, but it could be a restaurant that has like really intriguing decor, an out of the box experience in terms of like the culinary experience, right? But I think there's this misconception between men and women of what that experience specifically means. Because not all fine dining establishments are quality establishments, if we're honest.
I wanted to ask a question with Inaz. What do you think? Do you think because one of the comments that you made was if she's this woman, you're trying to compete for her by spending this money. But do you think that okay? So I guess if we're talking about just a high class woman, we're not going to talk about the ghetto beauty queen, but we're talking about a high class woman. Do you think that is like men say you're dating outside of your? That's the whole point. You're dating outside of your budget, so to speak.
So
and that's where you get confused. Like that's where you get a little
not necessarily,
because if she
right?
if she is looking for that, if she expects that.
So this is why I say not necessarily, right? Because to your point, and I think you should definitely do the website thing. I think if you monetize it, you'd be all right. I think there's this illusion that a really good aesthetic vibe comes with a certain price point. That's not necessarily it. When it comes to women who middle to upper class and above, it's more so about like the ambiance and the experience. Doesn't necessarily mean a walk in the park, but it could be a restaurant that has like really intriguing decor, an out of the box experience in terms of like the culinary experience, right? But I think there's this misconception between men and women of what that experience specifically means. Because not all fine dining establishments are quality establishments, if we're honest, right? And it takes a woman who's experienced enough of those to understand that. So to your point, in terms of like the women looking for a come up, you could take her anywhere with a high price point, and she'd be happy to brag to her friends. But it's not about the idea of like being outside of your price point. I think it's more so about giving off the right first impression that she's intrigued to know more about you, right? So
that
it may
you
not
know more
necessarily.
about you if you can't afford. That's.
I understand, right? But like, you wear your best to an interview. That might not be how you dress at the job every day, but when you're interviewing, you really put on your best, right? And I think that's really what we're talking about is like in the first few dates before you actually get to know each other, right? When you're still exploring the representative, people are going to pull out their best. It's a natural, normal human instinct.
I agree with you, but I do. Should they though? That it should not. You should not be dating outside of your budget. First of all, you're going to go in debt.
Well, I think you can put your best foot forward based on what you have.
For sure.
So my thing is if you don't have $150 to spare, like you got to pay rent or you got to end up missing a bill because you're trying to spend a heavy right then and there. For me as a woman, not that I would know, but that would let me know that you're not responsible with your finances, which would then be a concern for me later on. But if I don't have the 150 to spend on a date, but let's say I have maybe $50, $60. I'm going to find something as a man. What I would do is figure out a way that I can be very creative about what kind of date that I can set up that's within that $50, $60. And hopefully whoever I'm with would appreciate that. If they can't, then I would know up front that's probably not the person that I need to be with because I know this is what I can afford right now. So
number one, I just want to say real quick, I'll make it really fast. Men out there listening, you are the interviewer, not the interviewee. Stop going in like you are the interviewee. You don't have to put your best foot forward. Be you. She's applying for the job to be your wife. not you applying for the job to be her husband. Stop it. I'm sorry. I just need to.
I want to go, but I want to see. I want to hear what this face is about. Because
When you go on a job interview, that's not true. Because when you go on a job interview, both of y'all are trying to figure out if this is gonna. No, as the interviewee, you're trying to figure out, is this going to be the place that's going to align with what I'm looking for? So you're asking questions too to see if this is the right fit.
Because if that price
and that is correct. As the interviewer, you're making sure that person is the right fit for you. That's the mindset that the men need to go in with when they are going on these first second, third, fourth dates. They need to go in like they are the interviewer, not like they are the interviewee. No, I'm not going to sell how awesome my company is to you. Nope. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So here's where like I wholeheartedly disagree with you, right? If both parties,
of course,
hang on, let me backtrack. If you are the interviewee and you are a quality candidate, you are vetting multiple options from multiple organizations. You are vetting out the organization just as much as they are vetting you out. So whether you are the interviewer or the interviewee, if both of you don't have alignment in what it is that you're looking for, it's not going to last. Right. And so I understand in terms of like men being leaders, of men who are, the protectors, the providers, the ones who are guiding. I get what you're saying in terms of that reference of like, you're in charge, you get to make that final decision. But men are also looking for women who are willing to get on that program. And if the woman is not also the interviewee that is also interviewing the interviewer, none of this makes sense. You are latching on to somebody where you're getting into that situation where you're a statistic and there's a 50-50 chance of whether or not that's going to work out or not. And I think that's a really dangerous kind of rhetoric to be putting out there, because if you're not equally vetting each other out, we're doomed to repeat what we're complaining about right now.
Okay, so in an interview, who comes in the polo, who comes in the suit, who comes in dressed down, who comes in like they're going to work? The interviewer. Well, like, this is the mindset that the man has to have. I'm interviewing her. I fully understand that she's going to ask me questions. I get it. That's fine. And I'm going to be open and transparent with all of my answers. But I'm not the one being interviewed. She wants the job. And if she doesn't want the job, cool, bet, bam. This was a nice time. Thank you. If I don't fit what she wants, cool, bet. This was a nice time. I appreciate your time.
I actually like this, even though we know it's not like this. I actually like this because at least he's going to show up himself, and we get a good idea of who he truly is. And so there won't be any.
And then we don't have these overspending problems and these issues of these masks that get pulled off in about 3 months, because now I'm going to put you on this budget because the facade that I gave you wasn't the true expectation. Nah, because men go in like you're the interviewer. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. Women also go in like you're the interviewer too.
Go ahead, Marcus.
All right. So let me ask y'all this. Well, first off, I think I want to ask you about the date with the guy. Was he a hood dude or something?
Apparently.
You didn't know that before you went on that date?
I mean, no, I did not.
You wasn't turned on by that a little bit?
No, I was not.
So when he pulled that gun out, you just was like, oh my God, I've got to get away from him.
I got in that car so fast.
And left?
That number so fast.
You left?
I did.
All right. Well,
the reason, okay, so I met him in a career. So just because a person works a certain kind of way doesn't mean they go home that kind of way. It's kind of like he had two different personalities. So I met him in the work environment, and then I went switching. Code switching, but it switched like from one extreme to the other. You know what I'm saying? And then this man will be considered what you would consider a high value man. He just wasn't. I felt like if you put me in an environment that is dangerous, you're not looking out for my well-being. You know what I'm saying? At least have better judgment on. There are thousands of restaurants in Atlanta, and you chose that one.
So look, shit. when I was young and I was dating, one of my go-to things was I'm gonna take you to this dangerous environment and you gonna feel safe because I'm gonna bring you to on the block with me and you gonna feel safe. And that shit always worked. Yeah,
It did
never
not in
went
my.
down, but went down.
The worst
So
thing you do to me
I
is
might
not
say
make me feel safe. I'm a Taurus. We like security.
No, I'm saying you would be like it's like you going into a dangerous environment and you know this man got you feeling extremely safe in this environment.
Yeah.
It instantly build trust. It instantly know you can handle yourself. It accomplished a whole lot of different things. He made
that shit work, Marcus. That shit be working, bro.
And this is a crazy. This is a crazy.
Hell no, not on the first date. I don't know you, and I'm trying to get to know you, and you're gonna put me in a situation to prove that you can protect. Don't bring me in a situation that you feel like you have to protect me. I don't want to even be in a situation like that.
And let
my
me
my next question was that his
Marcus,
neighborhood? Because he might have wanted you to see the respect that he got from other men around him.
But let me add this part to the situation. He goes to the car. He sees something I don't know, and it's a car going slow, I suppose. And he was like, "Wait, I gotta handle this." It ended up being two teenage kids.
Was you dating a dude who be like, "I got real live ops out here"? Was you dating whatever dude?
I don't know what that means. I don't even know.
He a phony. He a phony, Marcus. You know it when you hear it.
He got shot 16 times though.
He didn't even feel comfortable in the environment. He was about to pull a gun out on two teenage boys who was just sitting there minding their own business, going slow for whatever reason. You know, I'm like, no, this is too much. This was too dramatic for me on a first.
All right. So, my other point was this. I gotta agree with AP on this. The number one thing when I hear women talking about,
I hope you don't watch this.
What, are you gonna pull up on you and talk about? I got real fucking ops out here. I got real live ops out here. Don't be exposing me. No,
saying I'm on the way. I say it like this: that nigga pull up on you, I'm on the way. Man, I wish you. Man, are you fucking kidding me?
He doesn't know.
Them motherfuckers are soft.
But look, this the reason. This is the reason why I agree, AP, because I be preaching this. You have to start how you finish. So don't create no unrealistic expectations.
Absolutely.
Like I know you don't agree with this, you know. Check it out. If I was dating you, right, and I came and picked you up in a G5, like I had a limousine come pick you up from your house, take you to the private jets. We take a trip to the Maldives or someplace in the Horn of Africa and enjoy ourselves. Come back, and then I never ever did it again. How mad would you be? You be like, what? You tricked me, bro. I fell head and heels over love with you, this experience, this whole thing, and you've never done it again. Where is that guy? You spend the rest of that time in that relationship trying to bring that person back.
So I wholeheartedly agree with you, but where I'm coming from is that as a woman, you shouldn't go on that date if he's that extravagant on the first. You don't know this man. Right. And that's where my perspective is like the interviewee still has to interview the interviewer. Right. Like if this man is super extravagant, more than like maybe what you're used to, I think there should be some questions. Right. Like, what's the purpose behind doing this? If you don't know me, why are you investing so much up front?
They just did a movie about a dude who
women ain't asking that shit.
It's called The Tinder Swindler. You seen it?
Mm-hmm.
He literally did that. So I think you used the term love bombing.
No,
that was the way to get them hooked.
So, to that point, yeah, exactly. To that point, right? Because I think that's a really valid point. I'm curious how many women were like, nope, this is a red flag. I'm out, right?
Zero.
No. I don't know that it's zero, right? Because at the end of the day, like we don't talk about those women because it's not sensational. People are not going to watch the movie about like the women who said no to the scam artist, right? But I think if you are a quality candidate, I think that you move very differently than somebody who is in a situation where they are desperate.
For sure.
Right. And I think that's really where like the differentiating factor is, because like I did recruiting for years. The candidates who were like top notch, I mean, they hit everything that an employer was looking for. You had to compete with other organizations in terms of pay, in terms of benefits, in terms of the way that you interviewed, in terms of what you were offering, in terms of the way that you communicated with them, in order to win that candidate over. Yes, you are still the organization. Yes, you still get final say in it, but those people are handled so significantly different than like, you know, the cashier at the grocery store who's easily replaceable, where we've just got a funnel of turnaround. Right. And that's kind of the point that I'm getting at, is if you see yourself as a quality woman, you are equally vetting that man as much as he is vetting you. It has to be a mutual fit.